Hey there, it's CJ Willie and I'm cracking a pack. Today is pack number 10, or my final pack in my Magic the Gathering Core Set 2021 bundle. The focus of the video is what is your pick. As I crack the pack, I'll discuss which card would be my pack one, pick one. My viewpoint will be from a very casual Magic the Gathering player perspective. It will be a kitchen table draft, having fun with friends opinion. So check out my preview video on the Core Set 2021 bundle. I have added the link to the preview video in the description below. Let's check to see if we've got a foil here. Doesn't look like it. So land, rare, 3 uncommons. Oops. Get that up there. Did I not do it right? Let's see. Oh, I may have just messed this pack up really bad. I'm just not used to the Japanese manufactured English packs. Okay, first card out of the pack is Turret Ogre. 4 mana, 3 and a red. It's an Ogre Warrior at 4/3. It has reach. When Turret Ogre enters the battlefield, if you control another creature with power 4 or greater, Turret Ogre deals 2 damage to each opponent. This card has payoffs in the red-green deck where you're going to have big, beefy creatures with power 4 or greater. Even if you're not playing it in a big, beefy deck, Ogre Turret is still good because it's still a 4/3 for 4 and it has reach, so it takes care of those pesky flyers. Next up is Skeleton Archer. 4 mana, 3 and a black. It's a Skeleton Archer at 3/3. When Skeleton Archer enters the battlefield, it deals 1 damage to any target. I think it's kind of a flavor fail because it's an archer, and typically archers deal with flyers. And in this instance, Skeleton Archer doesn't do anything to a flyer unless it's a 1-butt flyer. Okay, next up is Wall of Runes, single blue mana wall at 0/4. It's a defender. When Wall of Runes enters the battlefield, scry 1. It's really good to have this on turn 1. It holds off the aggressive decks, and hopefully the scry will work out in your favor. Next up is Swift Response. 2 mana, 1 and a white instant, destroy target tapped creature. It's a great kill spell. In limited, the name of the game is creatures and attacking. I typically like to hold on to this card a little bit later in the game and deal with their big bomb instead of trying to pick off something early in the game. Next up is Garruk's Gorehorn at 5 mana, 4 and a green. It's a 7/3 beast. No other text. This card is very cuttable. I try not to play it. I think for 5 mana, a 7/3 is just not that impactful on the board. Next up is Fetid Imp. 2 mana, 1 and a black. It's an imp at 1/2. It has flying. You can pay a single black mana. Fetid Imp gains Death Touch until end of turn. A 1/2 flyer that you can give it Death Touch is going to do a lot of work defensively. It holds off the bomb flyers. It holds off the bomb ground creatures. Next up is Spine Megalodon. 7 mana, 5 and 2 blue. It's a shark at 5/7. It has hexproof. Whenever Spine Megalodon attacks, scry 1. By turn 7, hopefully you can get it out. If you do, you've got a 5/7 that's going to be very hard to deal with, and giving it any sort of evasion is going to win you the game. Being able to scry every single time it attacks just allows you to dig further into your deck. Next up is Concordia Pegasus. 2 mana, 1 and a white. Pegasus. It's a 1/3 flyer. This is okay in the white-blue flyers deck. Outside of that, it's a little clunky and slow. It's one of the last cards that I tend to include or cut in the white-blue flyers deck. Next up is Bone Pit Brute. 6 mana, 4 and 2 red. It's a Cyclops at 4/5. It has Menace. When Bone Pit Brute enters the battlefield, target creature gets +4/+0 until end of turn. This is a card that I don't play too often in an aggressive red deck. It's too high of a converted mana cost, a little too slow. But in a bigger, beefier build, comes down turn 6. It's a 4/5 with Menace, so it's got evasion. Next up is Voldalian Arcanist. 2 mana, 1 and a blue. Merfolk Wizard at 1/3. You can tap it to add colorless. Spend this mana only to cast an instant or sorcery spell. Pretty narrow card. I only play it in the blue-red spells deck. It works out pretty well in that deck, and then it reduces the casting cost of your instants and sorceries. If you're lucky, sometimes you can catch your opponent sleeping and they don't realize you can tap Voldalian Arcanist to add mana to your instants and sorceries, and you can catch them with a counter spell or a burn spell. Our first uncommon is Obsessive Stitcher. 1 generic mana, 1 blue, 1 black. It's a human wizard at 0/3. You can tap it, draw a card, then discard a card. Pay 2 generic mana, 1 blue, 1 black, tap it, sacrifice Obsessive Stitcher, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. This card works really well in a blue-black reanimate strategy in Limited. You're going to be able to loot through your deck, put your bigger, beefier creatures into the graveyard, say like a spined Megalodon, and then instead of having to pay 7 mana to get that spined Megalodon out, you can pay 4 mana, sacrifice Obsessive Stitcher, and get spined Megalodon out on the battlefield. Okay, next up is Canopy Stalker. 4 mana, 3 and a green. It's a cat at 4/2. Canopy Stalker must be blocked to Fable. When Canopy Stalker dies, you gain 1 life for each creature that died this turn. I'm not very high on Canopy Stalker for 2 reasons. 1, it says must be blocked to Fable. Not all creatures must block at a Fable, so it can easily be chump blocked. And 2, its toughness is 2, meaning more than likely by the time it attacks or it blocks, it's going to die. Sure, you might get 2 life for it dying and one of your opponent's creatures, but it just doesn't seem to be a card that has great payoff. Our final uncommon is Quarian Dryad. 2 mana, 1 and a green. It's a Dryad at 1/1. Whenever you cast a spell that's white, blue, black, or red, put a +1/+1 counter on Quarian Dryad. I think it works really well in the white, green, +1/+1 counters deck. There are quite a few payoffs for having +1/+1 counters. Playing a Conclave Mentor with Quarian Dryad is going to ensure that a lot of +1/+1 counters are happening, and Quarian Dryad itself is going to get out of control. Okay, will we get a great rare or mythic rare as our final one out of the pack? We have a land, one of the Scry lands. Temple of Silence enters the battlefield tapped. When Temple of Silence enters the battlefield, scry 1. You can tap it to add white or black to your mana pool. I like the temples. They are a cheaper dual land that's affordable for a budget deck. Entering the battlefield, sure it's tapped, but allows you to scry. They provide the flexibility of having either color of mana to utilize. And then we have a swamp and an angel token. My favorite card or best card out of the pack is Quarian Dryad. I think playing it at white and green is its best spot, but because it can gain counters in any combination, Quarian Dryad can make itself a home in whichever color combination. I think it's an easy card to pack one, pick one, because it doesn't necessarily lock you into a color. And if you happen to fall into the white-green +1/+1 counters deck, well, Quarian Dryad's going to fit right into it. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. If you did like it, please subscribe and share. Take some time to tell me in the comments section what was your favorite card or the best card out of the pack. Until next time when I'm back with a review video of my Magic the Gathering Core Set 2021 bundle in What is Your Pick?